Hey guys, it's Chris from Two Brain Business, and today I'm going to tell you how to achieve any goal by moving from the general to the specific. This is going to be a familiar process if you're a fitness coach because we do this for our clients now. So the first thing we want to do is define what our goal is. We want to have a really clear picture of where we're headed or where we want to get to, and we'll call that point B. The next thing that we have to do is figure out exactly where we're starting from. So we need to do some kind of measurement or assessment to figure out, what's point A? And then we need to write that down. Now, it's your job as a coach and my job as a mentor to map out the process between point A and point B. This is the journey. The easiest way to map out that process is to split it in half. So just like when you're dividing up a pizza, you don't try to carve out like 4 or 5 equal pieces. The first thing you do is you cut the pie in half one way, and then you cut the pie in half the other way. So we want to take this journey, and we want to find an approximate midpoint. So now we can say, here's how we'll know when you're halfway to your goal. From there, we want to further move from general, the journey, to the specific, today's prescription, by cutting that journey in half again. So how will we know when you're halfway to halfway? Well, we can define that. And then we can say, all right, well, how do we know when you're halfway there? And we can continue to break down the journey until we're getting to today's workout prescription or today's diet or whatever it is that you're telling people, do this right now. But you have to start with the end goal in mind, and then you have to break down the journey in stages. What you can't do is start with the specific and move to the general. So you can't just say, well, here's the workout for today. I made it up. It's hard. It's going to make you want to barf. And then hope that eventually, some way, that translates into them reaching their goal. Because when you're doing that, what you're really doing is just like selling choreography. Now, what we want to do is look at how moving from the general to the specific can apply in different situations. So we've kind of given the example of fitness. When your client says, I want to lose 20 pounds, you want to start by measuring where they are now. How much do you weigh? Then you want to talk about muscle and fat, and you want to take some measurement there. So maybe you're using an in-body like we do, maybe you're taking a caliper pinch, maybe you're measuring circumference, whatever it is. You have to take a measure that matters to them. Then you say, how will we know when we're being successful? Well, here's the halfway point. You'll have lost 10 pounds of fat. How will we know when we're halfway to halfway? You'll have lost 5 pounds of fat. And then you keep working backward until you can finally and confidently say, this is your specific prescription for today, do this one thing. We've done this for entrepreneurs. So the first thing that we had to do was define what is wealth for entrepreneurs. Now, if you're a CrossFit coach, you're familiar with this need because until Greg Glassman defined what is fitness, nobody was really working toward a defined goal here. So it was hard to break down the steps. So when we're moving from general to specific business prescription, we wanted to start by defining what is wealth. And wealth is freedom of time and money. You have more money than you need, and you can choose how you spend your time. So when we say, well, what's halfway to that goal? We might use the classical definition of the work. We can say, well, you're working about 20 hours a week, and you're making more money than you need. You're matching the happiness index. And we break all this down in the incubator and growth programs at Two Brain. But then we want to say, well, what's halfway to halfway? So maybe that's only working 40 hours a week and your business pays all your bills. And then from there, we want to say, well, what's halfway to that? And again, this depends on how we assess your business when you start. So when you start at Two Brain, we start with the goal of making you wealthy. We do an assessment to figure out where you're starting from. Then we find out what the halfway point is, and then the halfway to the halfway of the halfway. And then we can come up with a daily prescription of here's what you should be doing. Now, in fitness and in business, sometimes a general prescription will get you a long way. You can do constantly very functional movements performed at high intensity in CrossFit and get you further toward a goal, even if the goal isn't well defined. Because, if you improve your fitness, that's going to improve any fitness goal that you have. So that's great. It's just not specific enough. You can't stick with a general goal forever. Just like I can't say for you, here is wealth. It's $1 million in 0 hours of work per week, because that might not be wealth to you. We have to define your wealth in each specific case. And for the rest of the week, I'll be talking about how to move from general to specific goals, how we've mapped that out with the Two Brain scorecard, and how we measure your progress.